Hello and welcome everyone to Diane's Patisserie. I'm Diane Nussbaum, the Executive Pastry Chef of Diane's Patisserie. Today we're really planning a very fun and delicious dessert for a kid's party, a groom's cake, anyone who doesn't particularly like cake. This is called a brookie. And a brookie is a combination of a brownie and a cookie baked together. And we could bake it just in a 9 by 12 aluminum pan or your cake pan, however you like. But we decided today to make it in a 2-tiered cake so that it's more fun for a party. And we've decorated it today with cut out dinosaurs and stars and all kinds of fun sparkly things which you can do at home. There's plenty of things for you to get either at your supermarket or wherever you buy baked product. So we're going to get started, and we're making the brownie part first. So we're melting butter and bittersweet or semi-sweet chocolate, which we're going to put in the microwave and melt that right now. And then we're going to be mixing that with our granulated sugar and our confectionery sugar and our eggs and folding in our flour. That's going to make the bottom layer of each of our cake pans. So we're doing it in 2 layers each, making it easier to set it up and put it together. So we'll be melting this right now in the microwave. And while that's getting melted, I'm just going to crack my eggs and get them ready. So different people have different ways of cracking their eggs. I like to do it on a hard surface, but whatever you like to do best is what works for you. And I always like to mix my eggs a little bit before I add sugar to them. So we're going to put them in the mixer and add the sugar. And while this is beating, our chocolate's going to be melting and cooling a little bit. We don't want it to be too hot when it meets with our egg and sugar mixture. So what I'd like to say is that the eggs should get to a ribboning stream, so they get a little bit lighter, a little bit thicker, almost like a custard looking. And that's what makes your dessert come out the best, you know, the most light and delicious. And when we're putting them in our pans, I'm going to pipe the brownie part in with my pastry bag so I get an even distribution of the product in all of our 4 pans. I'm also adding a half a teaspoon of vanilla. And these recipes can be found on our website. If you send me your email, I'll be happy to email them to you. It's diane@dianespatisserie.com, so that you can get all of the recipes of all of the desserts that we're making. So we're melting our chocolate, and that's going to be ready in a moment. And then we'll be adding it to our egg mixture, and then we'll be putting it into our pans with a piping bag to make it even in each one of the bags. So I'm getting our chocolate, and it's not too hot, and it's nice and thin. It's all melted, as you can see, and I'm going to add it to the eggs. So this is all going to get put into our egg mixture. Wow, this smells so good. I wish you could smell it. This chocolate is just so delicious. And a little messy, but you know, baking can be a little messy. And it's getting nice and thick, so now we're going to add a very small amount of flour and just mix it to combine it. All right, that's good. So this is what I like to do. Once everything's in the bowl, I like to take it out and just mix it gently by hand to make sure that it's all combined. And especially if you have a mixer like this with a little lump on the bottom, make sure you get all the way down to that bottom piece to make sure that no ingredients are stuck there. So this looks very good. Just clean off our beater. All right, now to fill up our bag. So the best thing to do when you have a bag like this, I don't have a tip in there, I'm just gonna kind of sit it in my bowl and so it doesn't all pour out the bottom. And get it all into the bag. Now, of course, I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees because we want our oven to be ready for us when we're ready to put our cakes in the oven. So it's not all in here yet, but I'm going to put it into our pans. And it seems like a very low layer, but it really puffs up when it bakes, so don't worry. Just trying to make it even. So now I'm piping some of the batter into the littlest layer. And our other layers have some batter, but I'm just gonna finish it up for each of them to make them a little thicker. Put another dab in each one of these guys. And then we have a little offset spatula that I like to use to help spread it out. So we'll just make it a little bit smoother inside the pans. And one thing nice about this, you don't even have to wash your mixing bowl because when we make the chocolate chip batter, it's still chocolate. So don't even worry about washing your bowl. We're gonna go right into that as soon as we get this all nice and smooth. So just smoothing this out. So you can see, doesn't look like very much, but as you can see when the cake layers bake, they're nice and thick. So this looks good. And now we're going to go right into our chocolate chip cookie dough to do the second part of this mix. So in my dish here I have 4 ounces of butter, which would be 1 stick of butter, and 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar and 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, and I'm going to put that in our mixer. And then we'll beat this and make sure your butter is room temperature because it helps very much to make your mixing go a lot faster. So as we say, you know, you should always get everything ready in advance, your mise en place. So that's what we like to do, measure everything out, have it all ready to go. So we're going to turn our mixer on and beat that up nicely. And add our 1 mixed egg to that as well. So doing these 2 parts of the mixing really doesn't take that long. It may seem like it's a lot of work to do 2 different batters, but really it goes pretty fast. So our eggs in, give that a good mix, put a little vanilla in. And you can use a good vanilla extract. You don't necessarily have to use a vanilla bean, but if you like to, you can, if that's something that you like to use. So I'm just looking to see that there's no little lumps of butter in the bowl. So let's take a quick look. We'll just scrape down the sides of the bowl. So this is a very important part because you want to make sure that there's no lumps of butter still remaining in the bowl before you add the flour. So I'm just going to turn it on for another minute. And I'm turning it down very low. So in with my flour, I have baking soda, baking powder, and a little salt, which is a pretty typical chocolate chip cookie dough recipe. So you could actually use this recipe to make like a big chocolate chip cookie cake. If that's something that your kids like for a birthday party, you don't necessarily have to do the brownie part too. All right, that's all in. And now for the chocolate chips. And I'm using mini chocolate chips because I think for something like this, it gives a better distribution. If you're just doing it in the 9x12 pan, you might want a bigger chocolate chip, but that's personal preference. And also, you could use white chocolate chips. You could put pecans or walnuts in this batter as well. This is all up to you and what your family really likes. So now this is the interesting part of this recipe. Normally, if you were making a chocolate chip cookie, you would be using a spatula or a spoon to put it on your cookie tray. For this recipe, we're going to put blobs of chocolate chip cookie dough on top of the brownie. Cover it with aluminum foil and put it in the oven for 15 minutes. While it's covered, the chocolate chip cookie dough will start spreading over the whole top, so you don't have to worry about spreading it out, which is nice because it seems a little difficult to do actually. So I just brought my ice cream scooper, and I'm just going to be putting blobs of cookie dough on each one of these. So any size that you have is really fine, it doesn't matter. Just try and make them even all the way around. And this makes it go really fast. And it's not too messy, which we like. And then of course your kids get to lick the bowl at the end, which they always like. So we always like to give our kids a little bit of more fun while they're waiting, the anticipation of getting something delicious to eat. And then there's a little bit left in here, so I'm just gonna scrape that out and put it on. So we'll use our spatula to help get this off of here. And then while this is baking, of course, we have 2 layers that are already finished, so we can show you the best way to decorate this. And as I said, you could use this for a children's birthday party, you could use this for a groom's cake, you could use this for a rehearsal dinner cake, for a wedding, if you wanted to do it in a tiered manner, or just make it in a sheet pan and cut it into squares. And we have little pieces of squares here that we had left over from our 2-tiered cake that we put together the other day. All right, so I'm going to put this in the oven. This is all good. Get my aluminum foil. So you want to cover every pan tightly so it really steams into the batter. And we'll set the timer for 15 minutes so we don't forget it. Then we take the aluminum foil off and continue baking it until they're done. So I usually test it. I do touch my cake batters with my fingers. As my kids say, I have no fingerprints left because I've touched too many hot things in my life. But anyway, you can use a toothpick to see if it's finished or not. It should come out clean. So we'll put them all on the same tray. And then we'll all bake about the same amount of time. Sometimes the littler ones get done a little bit faster, but we'll see. So now we get to the fun part of decorating our cake. So we're just going to clean off our table. So we have our chocolate ganache, which, as I mentioned, is equal parts chocolate and heavy cream. You bring your heavy cream to a boil, pour it over your chopped up chocolate, and then you get this lovely chocolate fudge, which is amazing. So we've already stuck these 2 layers together, but I'm going to just add just a little bit more because we love chocolate ganache. I don't know anybody who doesn't love chocolate ganache, but we don't let them in our chocolate club anyway. So that's 1 tier of our cake, and then these are the 2 smaller cakes that we are baking now. So I'm going to put 1 on top, add some more chocolate ganache inside on this one. Just very delicious. And then I'm going to turn this one upside down so we have a flatter top to finish our cake. And then we're going to make some fun decorations. So we always like to make things both delicious and beautiful. And part of that beautiful part is to have fun with your different decorations. So I'm just going to do a little chocolate drip down the sides. Just let the chocolate ganache drip right down. And you'll see a lot of cakes in cake magazines and so on are using the drip method. And it's basically making a ganache and letting it run right down the sides of your cake. So we'll do that on this one too. All right, I think that's good. So now we have 3 different colors of fondant. We have a red, a kind of an ivory, and a purple. So we can of course use the red as it is, or we can mix it with a little bit of the white to change the color, or make it kind of marbleized as well. And this is a fun way to teach your kids color, because you can show them what happens when you mix white into something. And so I have my little rolling pin and this little silk pad. But if you don't have a silk pad at home to use for rolling out dough, the back of a plain placemat works just fine. So you don't need to go buy anything special if you don't want to. But if you do a lot of work like this, it's really fun to have the right pieces of equipment, because it really helps. So we're going to cut some hearts. We're going to cut some flowers, putting them right on to our cake, however we'd like. And then whatever we haven't used, we can just roll it right back up into the nice ball. And the thing that's important with fondant is that you keep it covered, because if you let it dry out, it makes it very hard to use it. So keep a plastic bag or a piece of saran wrap handy so that you can wrap it up. So you can see I kind of work the fondant before I'm going to roll it out to get it smoother, softer. Do a couple more flowers. Oh, let's put one. And it doesn't have to be exactly on the side. You can roll it over the sides, the edges. Put that one back here. And then we have some chocolate buttercream. As we did on that one, we did these really big squiggles at the top. And we can do some piping at the edge of each tier to finish it off and make it look very professional. And this is just piping and pulling up. Nothing really complicated. So this is our brookie in 2 layers of brownie and chocolate chip cookie. And you can call us on the phone and ask for recipes. Diane at Diane's Patisserie, 609-560-4111, or send me a message, an email, and I'll be happy to respond to you. And on our website, we actually have a little tab that says Contact Us. You can put all your information in there, and that way I have your information. I can send you whatever recipes you would like to see from our programs. So I hope that you will join us again soon. We'll be doing lots of more delicious and beautiful desserts. And please specialize your cakes, your parties, with all these fun things that you can do with your families at home. I hope you enjoyed our presentation.